individuals and 300 Humboldt County. Then the second page of that, it shows you the characteristics, and one thing that I really would like to draw your attention to is in the first column at the bottom, it has households below 100% poverty level in Humboldt County is 58%. 58%, so over half of your homes here in Humboldt County are under 100% poverty level. And that seems extremely high.
Are we higher than most counties in the Fenimore area?
No, you're not. You're not. But I guess, Carl, it goes back to when I think about when we're sitting at ministerial meetings together and then the school talks about the free and reduced lunches and how high that is. I think that's a good reflection of that. And Harlan, you had a question, I'm sorry.
That isn't reflective of that your county is 58% below poverty. What doesn't say the entire population? Of those we served, they were at 100% or below that. Okay? Yeah. There's a lot of your families we can serve that are 101% or up to 125%. And in some cases, like weatherization, we can go up as high as 185% of poverty. Okay? So that just simply means of those we serve.
Right now, they're not taking the whole county.
No.
I was gonna say, the whole county.
Yeah, no. That can be real pretty.
So I'm glad it is Monday.
I thought you were caught on that.
We were trying to write some grants.
Trying to figure out with an unemployment rate of around 4%.
Oh, I see, that's what you were looking at.
Fairly wealthy population.
We do, overall.
Grants.
But as far as the homes that we serve, right, out of the 394 that we served, 58% are below 100%.
Where's that figure, 300 and...
On your letter.
On the letter?
Mm-hmm, the first page of the letter. It is the fourth paragraph.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. It's at the top of the second one, too.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see that up there.
Yeah, those numbers are on there.
No, I can hardly read it anymore, too.
Right. On the third page that we gave you, we broke down different programs to kind of show you the cost of services for UDMO. For the people that we served during that fiscal year. And I did I have a handout here that shows you some of the services that fall under that category. Thank you. So if you look at emergency services, it talks about the cost of services, $212,833, almost, $213,000. Those services, the majority of them were for low energy, LIHEAP assistance, and for crisis such as maybe furnace repair, furnace replacement. The majority of those funds were used for that. There's $37,000 that were used for other services outside of LIHEAP and crisis. So if you look at your category under emergency services, you can see other services that are on there, so maybe water fund. So we do have a lot of people that come for water assistance. They may have a water disconnect or a water bill that is above and beyond what they can get to, and need a little assistance to help them become self-sufficient. The weatherization program on there, I wanted you to take note that we did weatherize 8 households in Humboldt County. I know that in the past someone asked about that. I want to say it was you, Carl, last year, asked about how many homes we weatherized in the county. the weatherization program over our 12 counties, we do between, correct me if I'm wrong, but between 100 to 120 homes.
120 is what our target is.
120, okay.
Yeah.
And we have to spread that out over the 12 counties. But you can see that 8 homes here in Humboldt County were weatherized.
I had a question on your weatherization. Is that like just those, like a temporary deal where they come in and put plastic over windows?
No.
Or is it like
No.
putting windows in houses and insulating them, and what is that all
They'd
involved?
scold you if you asked them if they put plastic on windows. They don't do that
Yeah.
anymore. Because it doesn't really make that big of an impact
No.
for homes,
Okay.
believe it or not, which is really
And it's
surprising.
just a
We grew up doing
temporary
it
thing.
too. But basically, they weatherize the homes, they caulk around and seal the windows, they add insulation to the home, and then also seal around the foundation and around the soffits and the air vents in the house. And then they also make sure that there's plenty of insulation in the attic.
Okay, so
And then they measure that by
future
our
years
value.
then, too.
Yeah.
And Rick, also to follow up with that, I want you to know that out of these 8 homes, the average cost per home was $14,052.87. So now, you put a dollar with what Jamie just
Mhm.
said, now you can visualize
Nice,
it's not
yeah.
like a Band-Aid
Right.
with plastic on the window.
And in some of those cases too, just to add, I can't tell you specifically of the 8, but if the home has an inefficient furnace, they'll replace that as well as some of the appliances.
Right.
Those things alone, the appliances and the furnace alone can make a huge impact on a home. So,
Yeah.
How do you decide who gets it? There's probably a lot more need than later you're able to do. Do they apply for them? Do you have a pecking order? How do you decide who gets it and who doesn't?
it's based on income.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yep, and they start with the lowest income. In some cases, in some of our programs too, we're finding out it doesn't necessarily affect this county, but it could later on down the road as we continue our housing. We're getting so many applications for support and housing services that we have to not only take them by the low income, but by date and time. We're getting so many flooding in for people who need support on that, so that's become even more of a real challenge for us, which is all right, that's what we do, but it's kind of interesting to note that we have to go that specific about choosing those in need, so.
Mhm. Yeah. But with the cold weather, you know, we're getting hit really hard right now. All the counties are, as far as the need. So, anyway, I guess what I'm here to ask you is to, first of all, to thank you for all your support that you give to us. I can't express that enough, from the office space to the monetary funds that you give to us. But I deeply appreciate that for the, you know, not only for our agency, but for the people that we serve. And I am asking that I hope that you can continue to support us, and go ahead, Jamie.
Okay. Well, one of the things that
Talk to
we
you.
echo to you guys every year is that the money that you guys provide to our program, again, stays in this county, it doesn't go to any other county. And again, we want to make sure you understand that the services that you guys provide, your money goes directly towards client services. The money that, you guys also give us the office space, and that's a huge help for us in this county. So, what things we do pay for just goes towards operations of staff. That comes from a community service block grant that we receive. And then, like I said, the money you give us goes directly towards client services for your population here in Humboldt County. So we want to make sure you understand that your money never leaves here, so.
That's fine.
Your holiday project, 166 individuals, is that the Christmas,
Well, you know, that was when during this time period, this was fiscal year 14, so we were still, utilizing the ministerial alliance funding. So, yes, but you're going to not see those numbers on there, you know, in the future, because the food pantry and the Christmas broke off from, Upper Des Moines.
Ministerial Alliance handles that now.
Right.
So ours will be going to more directly towards services like crisis
Mhm.
services and heating,
Right.
weatherization and such.
So how many baskets did they serve, do you?
You know, I think Pat Hill told me, I wanna say they were up to maybe 170 or 180, but don't quote me on that. That was just the last that I had heard from her. So, don't quote me on that. I don't know.
You still do the coats for tots?
Yes, Coats for Kids, you betcha. You bet, we still have that. We have, birthday programs that the Girl Scouts started here in Humboldt County. That's a really neat and fun program. If somebody is having a birthday, they can come in and they can get a bag that has a cake and mix in there, and it has frosting and all the party things so they can celebrate a birthday. And sometimes people put a little toy in there as well, so it's really fun. We have that. Of course, we have the back to school. That's a huge thing, supplying backpacks for kiddos with the school supplies that they need to get started for their education for the new year, and the Coats for Kids as well.
Do you think this drop in fuel prices is gonna help out? Maybe it's a lot of, people hopefully will have a little more discretionary money.
We're praying and hoping that it will. It seems to make, I was kinda optimistic too over the holidays. They said the same thing, but it doesn't seem to make as big an impact as
That's
I
what I was
thought.
wondering, if you're
Because it
noticing.
does, though we're seeing a decline in the gas amounts, it hasn't dropped in food or anything else. That's
Right,
still
they've
increasing.
probably gone up.
Everything else has, yeah. But we're optimistic to think maybe it will. It'll be helpful, so, and
Right.
hopeful for families, but we'll have to wait and see. It's hard to say. I'm hearing, I was at a training out of state here over this last week, and the message we're getting back as far as what's gonna happen in Congress and what's gonna happen in our funding is that, they think it looks good for our programming, meaning that we'll be able to sustain and survive, but they're not looking at any increases for any programs. Actually, they're gonna be looking for areas to cut. And it's not just us. Everywhere but military is gonna be cut. So, I think it's gonna be, a dry year and they're saying it's gonna be even tough for counties and states, so, that isn't very I know it's not a very optimistic forecast, but we'll just all have to wait and see. Maybe that gas prices will make a big difference for all of us, so.
Well, and one thing, 'cause Rick, you and I have talked about, propane,
Yeah.
especially last year.
Hmm.
But one thing I can tell you is that a lot of people have already come in, the majority of the county has already come in and applied for their energy
Have they?
assistance. But they also have come in to ask for crisis funds for that propane because of this cold. It just came upon us so early, and it's sticking with us, so.
Well, the unfortunate thing, we used up some of our crisis money last year
Yes.
already.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
last
so we
year
do
was
not have
terrible.
that amount left over for that. So, once that runs out, we'll have to figure out a way to supplement that to some degree, and we'll work real hard to do that, but
Right.
it's never enough. There's
You
never
know,
enough.
and that's the bad thing, because some people were going into this winter
Behind.
behind because of last winter. Yeah, and then with this cold, again, it's tough. It really is.
There's some way that your organization coordinates with Veterans Affairs and
Community services?
Human Services.
Oh, yeah, you
All
bet.
three, so you're not,
You bet. In fact,
You're in
Carl, we
coordination all the
have
time.
just decided, we are going to have a quarterly meeting between the ministerial and community service and Upper Des Moines. So we just started our first meeting, and we're gonna get back together and just go out to Miller's Landing. and,
great.
Yeah, have lunch and just kind
Should the
of
VA be
collaborate.
involved in that too then, or not?
We could probably invite them too, I guess. I can talk to Dee. She's the one that kinda got us together and for the first meeting, and then during the meeting, I said, we really should just meet. Let's just meet quarterly.
Mhm.
And that would be great, though. I'll shoot her an email on that.
Dean Ewald, I'm sure, would be.
Sure. It's a good suggestion.
Now, in your funding, is it primarily federal, or what percent is federal and state?
Well, it is federal, technically, it is federal, but it comes down through the state, through the Department of Human Rights, and then they funnel it down to us, and there's 18 total community action agencies in Iowa. And they break it up based on our geographic size and poverty, and there's some other magic formula that they come up with is when they determine how much we'll get. Interesting thing for our 12 counties is that we saw a decline in our funding. And part of it is because other than Buena Vista County and Dickinson, other 10 counties, we saw a migration out of the counties. We're seeing a decrease in population, yeah. So, though, the interesting thing is they don't take this into consideration, of those that stay, poverty has increased.
Mhm.
So, it's gotta be a bigger
Yeah,
challenge.
the ones that left went because of a job somewhere.
Exactly,
Right.
or with where the jobs are at, you know, they stand a better chance in the urban areas. And that's not the case for those who stay, though, they've gotten poorer and more challenged, so
Mhm.
we're trying to make them understand that formula doesn't always fall into place for people
Yeah.
in rural areas, so, anyhow.
Well, thank you for your information.
Absolutely.
We'll work on this budget in January, February, and we'll see what shakes out.
That sounds like a plan.
Okay, sounds good, thank
Thank
you
you for
very
having us.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, we got a little bit of time before we have to go to drainage and approve claims. Anybody had a chance to look at claims?
Yes, I did. We had 169,165.47 claims, and drainage 45,873.86.
Got a motion?
That's a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion by Harland, second by Mort, to approve the claims as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Okay, accept and place on file auditor's quarter report ending December 31. What do you got to say for yourself, Peggy?
All right, we actually brought in some money this quarter. We had, we had $31.76 in copy fees, $200 in passport, $264 in plat books, and $517.22 on miscellaneous, which included city directories, the auction, $35.99 from the auction, and postage of $13.86, and that's up to $4.75. So we have a total of $1,012.98.
Almost earned your keep, didn't you?
Almost. We don't bring in a whole lot of money, do we? But we work hard.
I'll make a motion to approve the auditor's report.
Okay, we have a motion by Rick,
Second.
second by Harland, to approve the auditor's quarterly report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Now we have the sheriff's quarterly report ending December 31. Did he do it good?
Oh, it should be better. Yeah, he brought in about $11,900.
Still a lot of mileage in there for transporting.
Yeah.
And, concealed weapons, $1,400. Do I hear a motion to accept his report?
I would so move.
Motion by Moore,
I'll second.
second by Rick, to accept and place on file the quarterly report for sheriff. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Now we have to appoint members to the Magistrate Appointing Commission for 6-year terms. What's this about? I don't understand this.
Okay. I got a note from Janelle, the court, and she said this is the year to appoint people. Currently, those people are Peggy Wright, Cheryl Reed, and Brian Rickless. Their term expired December 31st of 14, so she wondered if they would like to be reappointed for another 6-year term, and I said I will have to ask the board.
What do you do?
We did meet once,
Okay.
and appointed Greg Stobie, of course, as the magistrate. And that's what you do if there's ever an
Sure.
opening for a magistrate, then you have to be sure and meet and appoint somebody.
Well, I'll make a motion that if they're all willing to accept the commission job, I'll nominate they all be appointed again.
Okay?
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion by Rick, second by Harlan, to reappoint the commission for 6-year terms, as named by Peggy. Any discussion?
I will send notices out to all these people so that they know that.
Very good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Okay, we have to authorize the chairman to sign a banking certificate for county recorder.
Okay.
What parts of that, isn't it?
There were several that she submitted to me. 2 of them were corporate authorization resolutions, and they only asked for the, I'm trying to think of the terminology they used, the clerk to sign. So I will sign off on those 2. So the only one that was left for the board was a new one they have the certification regarding internet gambling.
Oh,
And
that's what
just-
that's from.
Yeah,
Here, I thought we were gambling.
yeah.
Yeah, here, I thought we had something going, I
And
didn't
Oh,
we,
know.
take all
we
this money.
don't do that and never have do that, but I guess you've gotta sign off and say, okay, we are not going, we don't engage in internet gambling. It has to be on file. So that would be what we would have Carl sign off on.
Well, move that Carl sign the internet gambling. Is that the proper terminology?
Yeah, exactly what it says,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll second.
Moved by Harlan, second by Rick. Those in favor of signing off on the certification for internet gambling, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Okay, we have, the next item here is accept and place on file designation of applicants authorized representative for FEMA. I believe that would be Trish, is that correct?
Yeah, but it goes through us. It doesn't go through drainage, it needs to be acted on in open session. We've had these before, whenever we've had a FEMA project, somebody has to be designated as a contact person so they know who to get a hold of. And Trish went ahead and signed this, and then I mentioned to her, you know, it really needs to go before the board. So, the formality is accepting it and placing it on file then.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make the motion to accept and place on file the applicant's authorization representation for FEMA.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor, any discussion on this?
This is for that drainage cleanout that we did.
It's gonna be for any coming up.
Coming up,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Yeah, they've
And
been
it
out, they've been out and looked
includes
at
some
it.
of those that have already, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Okay, we have one more item here before we go to drainage. Authorize chairman to sign certification of cost allocation plan, Cost Service Incorporated. That's
This
what
is
that
pretty
big-
standard.
big thick book's about.
Every year when they do the cost allocation plan, they ask the county to sign off on it. They did send a letter along with it saying how much money, the total reimbursement for the year would be about $17,385. If they wouldn't have done this cost allocation plan, then we wouldn't know that.
Anybody want to entertain a motion to sign the certification for cost allocation?
Sure, I will.
Motion by Harlan,
I'll second.
second by Rick. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Okay, I think it's probably time to go to drainage here. We need to go to drainage for a couple items.
So move.
Motion to go to drainage by Harlan,
Second.
second by Mort. All those in favor of drainage say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay.
Okay, that was a Trish for you, thank you. And then I'll have you sign this later.
The second FEMA
I'll
one?
bring them back.
All right.
Yeah, there's one and the same.
Oh, okay, 'cause there's two different-
Yeah, they're both the same.
Okay.
That's moving on pretty good, then.
Shoot, yeah, you're cranking through it.
Don't have time to breathe. Larry, did you watch those cyclones this weekend? Yeah. We got a Hawkeye up here, and he's going, this is pretty good, the winter one, the rest of the one. He went too good for the cyclones, I didn't think he was gonna win either one of them.
Oh, yeah, they were,
Pretty entertaining.
yeah, they were, like you said, entertaining.
We're ready for you, Trish, we're on, drainage, DD 125, approved chairman to sign the amended 2080 agreement.
Orland sent the amended 28E agreement, and he just needs it signed for the 75% eligible cost share.
All right.
And cost,
Anybody want to move to allow me to
So
sign?
that is, what he's doing is saying that he's gonna, whatever the bids come in on the,
Can you give me 75%?
yeah, up to now changed to 2 million, not to exceed 75% of the eligible cost.
up to 2 million.
Yep.
See, the bids came in over 2 million.
But I wonder if the 75% is the, is that the,
That's
the 75%
75%
can't exceed
2
2
million.
million?
Yeah.
So then,
If we're hoping the bids come in less than 2 million this time, 'cause the first time they were over 2 million, weren't they?
You mean,
No.
you mean all of them? all the different projects?
No, it was on this 125, it came in over 2, but I think the 70, it allows the 75% to go up to 2 million, so
Right.
basically it'd be roughly 1.3 or 275, or something like that.
And Rick is still expecting it to come down.
Well,
by
yeah, because
splitting.
he's split it out.
Yeah.
I thought that was part of the
More
reason.
competitive
Yeah.
bids on the concrete and contractors.
I'll move that we approve the chairman to sign the new 2080 agreement.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion second, to sign the 20 agreement. Other discussion?
Can you read that one more time for me?
The change, updated plans and construction estimated cost on December 22nd of 14, based on the revised cost estimate and current funds available, the total cost share available as stated in Article 6. Item C has now been changed to $2 million, but cannot exceed 75% of the eligible cost.
Okay, so the cost share part will go up to 2 million, so the whole total budget can be over 2 million. Okay, that's what I understood, okay. I'm fine.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Okay, one more drainage item here. We have, approved payment for DD 2, lateral 1.
I had it on the agenda a couple weeks ago. Dallas at Jacobson Westergaard forwarded on, just said that we need to approve it, and the signature of it, but she didn't say that we had to write checks, so that's the part we're doing now, is actually doing the payment part. The total is $180,600, and that's for 3 landowners.
This gets us complete then on that.
This is the mitigation for
Wetland
purchasing
mitigation.
land, yeah.
So who are the primarily 3 landowners, do you know?
Thomas and Patricia Stotterill, Nickham Family Trust, and Robert Lynch.
Do I hear a motion to approve payment? Mitigation project, DD 2, lateral 1.
Yeah, I'll move.
Motion by Harlan,
I'll second.
second by Rick. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Anything else for drainage?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, huh?
I'm doing a reimbursement for DD 29 to the landowners because levies were more than I should have. Some of the costs should have gone to 11, DD 11 instead. So I have done a claim for each landowner, and that'll go out this time.
So people get a refund that live in another district.
Mhm.
Very nice.
Pretty good. So I just need Mort to sign off. I just did a blanket sheet on the first to have them sign off on that. If you want to have them sign that.
Have you heard anything on more on 114 at Livermore?
No, I went through again and did some parcel corrections with the assessor. The railroad, there was some for the railroad that weren't included, some vacated lots that were being farmed, like alleys and streets. So we're trying to decide who they belong to. The person farming them or to the, it
The city.
honestly looks like the city of Livermore still owns them, so.
Well, I was just wondering, 'cause I see Rick turned in a bill for the engineering on it.
Yep, they're working on the reclassification and getting that done. But I just wanted to go through and verify all the parcels, because they're listed, but they're not in our system, so I'm doing some changing there with Sidwell. On
Did
how
you get
they're,
that squared around of who owns the lot? Really? That
Just, well, when
sounds
they did their
weird.
mapping, it was done different, and it's never really been addressed in that area.
Would that be who's paying taxes on it?
Yeah, seems kinda strange to me.
You gotta do what you gotta do, yeah.
It's more or less just the way that they're putting in the parcel numbers. Because I have to have it so I can put my tax amount in on the parcel numbers, but they don't show up on my side, so we have to do some jiggling around that way. It's mostly just in-house cleaning up stuff so I can...
It ain't that the assessor got parcels out there that you don't know who owns them.
No, they have their side and then I have my side, but I gotta make sure that I can get my tax for the drainage part into that. Because they list them differently. And, I don't know, did Peggy go through and authorize representatives for FEMA?
Yep.
Okay,
That's
good.
the second item on.
Yeah, I don't know. Other than that,
All right,
good.
thank you. We're done with drainage. Do I hear a motion?
I just wanna make a comment about drainage. As you know, Mr. Stowe, is that how you pronounce his name?
Des Moines?
Des Moines Waterworks
Yeah.
has sent a letter to the three counties, Calhoun, Sac, and BV, telling them they have 60 days to get their act straightened out on polluting the Raccoon River, or they're gonna sue them. I've had conversation with John Torbert about it. In fact, I got a phone call from KCCI about my feelings on this, and I was very vague, because I don't want to be on record one way or another. But I was kinda shocked. The guy asked me whether if I agreed with John Torbert's comments, and I said, well, I'm a county supervisor. Oh, you are? And I thought, really? Why didn't you call me? You know?
Is it just a random call or what?
But, you know, you look at this, we're trustees for drainage districts, but we have no power over a farmer out there telling him how much fertilizer to use, or where he spreads his manure, or anything. That's up to the, AFCS office, or the DNR. So, you know, I kinda asked the guy philosophically, how do they think drainage trustees are gonna solve this issue? But I think...
They gotta have somebody to sue.
Should be
And the farmer's out there just trying to get more crop, you know, and...
Yeah.
Now, if they win that suit, who's liable? Is the district gonna pay that, the county gonna pay that? Who's gonna pay the farm?
Well, what John Torbert told me is they really want every tile outlet to be a point, single source of pollution, like a factory, where you can monitor every tile outlet that goes into a stream or a dredge ditch. So they can monitor that, is what the end game is.
I have a question. Are they monitoring our county? Because obviously they were monitoring those three over there, because that's what they said.
Not that I'm aware of. Farmers in those counties knew they were out doing things. And I haven't heard anything from farmers around here, checking stream nitrate levels or anything. But,
Yeah, and then the city of Des Moines takes it out of their water supply, then they dump it back in the river and send it downstream to the next town.
well, that's what John Torbert told the news
Which
media.
seems
It's
kinda stupid.
He has a permit to do that.
Yeah,
And
so it's
and the state
okay.
gave him that permit.
Yeah.
So that's okay then.
Yeah. So,
That makes sense.
we'll have to wait and see. This thing's gonna be an ongoing, and, IDDA is working with the other commodity groups and so forth, with this issue. One of the things that we will be doing in their next IDA board meeting is Scott Jacobson is nominated to be put on the IDDA board from Calhoun County, so we will have somebody on there that has direct information on how this whole thing is playing out, so I just wanted to make that comment.
Anything else from drainage? Do I hear a motion to go out of drainage?
I'm going to go out.
Move for Rick, second by Moore. Those in favor of going out of drainage, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We're back in general session. I see Paul has arrived, you're on in time there, Mr. Dickman.
I have a question for you, Paul, before we get down to the nitty-gritty.
Oh, no.
West of Rutland, I have an invisible snow fence. I have steel posts on the north side of the road.
I don't know who did that.
And I was just wondering, is that fence invisible, or?
I don't think it's us. I think it's the city.
You always sure-
Does it work well? I see, another one of those, where did I see it?
Maybe they just put the post in just in case someday they need to put it in.
Well, it could be. I thought maybe they run out of old, wooden snow fence.
No, we got all kinds of snow fence, I saw
I
that.
think Larry had a question too, you saw hit before you did.
Yeah.
Larry, you wanna pose your question, give us more space?
On these roads where there's snow removal, can someone go through there and make a path?
We'd prefer not, unless they have,
If it's gonna save a farmer 3 or 4 miles, if he's hauling grain.
problem is, no snow removal is no snow removal, and we have it happening throughout the county, where someone then plows with a pickup with no height control or whatever, and we do not have any aggregate left when they're done. Or, the classic is a tractor pushing snow where it just balls on either side and peels all the rock. It's hard enough when we're doing it, obviously, we have rock in the ditch ourselves.
Well, if a farmer wants to get at his grain bin or home.
He has to open up the road if he has a grain
Can you
fence
just-
side.
We don't have any, no
Okay,
snow
we don't.
removal roads with anything on them.
Oh, okay.
Nothing.
That's one of the
Anything we got,
stipulations.
there's nothing on it,
Gotcha.
nothing
Okay.
there. We don't have any, some of the surrounding counties will put a no snow removal road to a bend site or whatever. We don't have any of that. These are nothing miles where we have no snow removal. And they get, the liabilities down the road, would be testy too. We'd all be in the tank. If anything happened to anybody on the road, on a no snow removal road, we'd probably be all in the tank anyway. But it would it would confuse it a little bit more if somebody had been cleaning it regularly and didn't happen to do it this night. The 16-year-old went down it and thought it was cleaned. Can I sit here and tell you it's okay to do that? I can't. I don't think I should anyway.
Should not say that.
I should not say
Will
that.
the county do it, or the farmer do it, or you say nobody should do it?
If it's no snow removal road, it's no snow removal road. We don't have a no snow removal road unless we have a no snow removal road, period.
But if we don't know about it, we don't know about it.
Well, let's move along with the
Yep.
agenda and we'll discuss.
Good
it
idea.
maybe. Okay, Paul, you're here because you want to approve a temporary hire for a part-time position in Humboldt County.
Yeah, we're down one employee for a while, I did find, Mr. Goshen, a former employee, that if we're desperate, we can use him. Right now, it looks like we're open this week, we won't use him, but I'd like to formally hire him as a temporary part-time, in the event that it works on his schedule and we need him, we would like to be able to use him.
You have to retrain him?
Might have, couldn't you better quote that in the papers if you get some...
Ask that question.
And I think, I believe I should have looked this up, our regular rates are $20 and change for a laborer, and I'd say $20 an hour wouldn't be out of line, or whatever that rate is for the regular worker.
Is that what you're doing with Carlson?
No, and I would consider moving him up. We started him at 15 and hired him formally at 15, and he's been very good, he's doing a nice job, and he's on demand, and we've utilized him quite a bit already.
Really?
He's running pretty much every day the wind's blowing. So, we had some training before it snowed, but, most of his training's been after it, and,
He drives a truck?
yes and no. He's in the plow.
Oh.
We train him both ways.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we started him in a truck, and ran truck routes, so he can jump in wherever, and that's the way, the beauty of a Roger Goshner is, other than training him again, he'd fit right in, either way, wherever we need him, if we can get him. Now, he's got commitments, with part-time work right now, but, we would work those out, and I would say at least $20 an hour would be my recommendations, or whatever the base rate is, and it's not gonna be the pay per hour that's gonna hold him up, it's whether or not he's available. And I would even consider bumping the pay of our newly hired employee if we could do that.
You don't need board action for that, do you?
Oh, yes, yeah. Said any wage rates comes through here.
Yeah, 'cause doesn't he like so many months at that rate, then he bumps up after that?
No, not as a temporary part-time, it's whatever we make him. And, we don't start too high, put it that way, when we're hiring somebody. And we started plenty low, and there could be an argument made easily to bump him right now. But we might not ever use Roger either. Maybe we're done with winter.
Yeah.
Maybe it won't, maybe it won't
be 40 by the weekend.
Yeah, might not be 15 below tomorrow morning too.
You know, put those temporary part-time through drug testing?
Yes.
Bank, in case their name gets thrown?
No, we'll do pre-employment, and I'll have to put Roger and see if we can get a pre-employment physical and drug testing and throw him in our pool again. Unless maybe he's in another pool now, I don't know. If they can prove that you're in one pool somewhere, that's all you need to be. But I know Mr. Carlson, is on our pool and done all of that already. And as far as effective date for Mr. Goshner, it doesn't matter. We haven't used him yet. It can be effective today, this new pay period, and if we use him, we use him. If we don't, we don't.
What's the desires here, folks? We have a couple items.
Well, I'd move that we accept or approve the hire of temporary part-time for secondary roads.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Second by Mort. Those in favor of approving a temporary part-time employee as recommended by Paul, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
The question is, do we need a salary?
Going the wages in there and going, whatever the part.
Oh, based at $20 an hour.
Okay,
Yeah.
include that in your motion.
For both of them, or for just Roger?
That should be a separate motion, maybe,
Very good.
possibly.
Well,
Wouldn't have to be, I guess.
I guess if you're gonna make a motion for a temporary part-time, you set a wage for it, period, right?
Yeah, and in the past, we've had a couple differentials because of experience, and I'm not gonna try to tell Roger, even though he needs retraining, you're gonna pay him significantly lower than what he left at.
If you're paying Carlson...
15. Roger, we need to clean up at least and get his rate, and we can leave it alone, 15 and 20, Roger has certainly got the experience, that's the easy reason why he's 20 and one's 15, it can be left at that. On the other hand, we
Yeah,
could pay some
Carlson,
more.
he's been at it how long?
2 weeks or 3
That's what I
weeks.
thought.
Yeah. But he's available and he's doing a nice job, so, and we can look at that, down the road too. The rest of the winter, maybe we look at it next year. But right now, we need Roger at least.